All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Shaun. I'm here with Amber Dixon, who's a great friend of mine and great client as well. We've been working together for over a year now, and she's really done phenomenal working with the HealthNU program. It's been an honor working with her. She's going to talk to you guys a little bit about her experience, and yeah, we're super excited to have her on. So thank you for joining us, Amber.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Of course. All right. So first off, please just tell everyone like a little bit about like who you are, what you do, and a little bit about you.
For sure. I'm a 44-year-old mother of two with a husband, working full time. And I've always sort of been on the more sporty side, and I've always kind of had that knack for working out and sort of taking care of myself. So I thought, but never really seeing the results that I really wanted to have, such as sort of like a lean and muscular physique. I had a friend of mine join HealthNU, and Shaun was her coach. I think that was about a couple years ago now. And I really was impressed with her results. And so I had to get a little bit more information from her. And turns out that she had been working with Shaun directly with Health and You and Jen for about a year, I think, at that point. And so I really was impressed with her results and really wanted to sort of up my bar and sort of increase my game at my fitness level. I think it was about January 2024. Sort of met with Shaun. We had a one-on-one Zoom call, and he told me a little bit about Health and You and the coaches there, and just exactly what he did, what the plan was, and what to expect, and sort of met with me and just discussed my goals and what I was looking for, and to see if we were a good fit for one another. So,
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, and I think it's turned out pretty well, I'd say.
yeah, it has. That's about a year and a half ago now.
I
So,
know it's time flies crazy. When you
yeah,
said January
exactly.
2024, I was like, holy. Okay,
Yeah, for
so if you
sure.
could just tell people like, where were you at like in your fitness journey before we started working together?
So I was doing Orange Theory, and I quite enjoyed the high intensity workouts and sort of the camaraderie between like the studio leaders and then the regulars within the groups that I saw on a regular basis. And then it was a lot of running and then floor exercises as well. And then at one point I kind of stopped that because I wasn't really seeing sort of changes within my physique or my body. I was kind of going there and busting my butt on the treadmill or, killing myself on the rower and just, going a couple times a week. And it was quite expensive. So I kind of switched gears and did like home workouts from there on in and joined an app. And then again, still wasn't seeing results after about a year and a half there. But I knew that, there was something missing in my health journey or in my fitness journey that I just really needed to ramp up. And so that's when you came into the picture, Shaun. And then we really talked a lot about nutrition and how, above all else, you're putting in your workouts, you're doing the hard work, you're not seeing results, but it actually comes down to your nutrition and what you're eating. And so after joining Health and You, it really put into perspective. My nutrition was crap. Let's just be honest, right? I mean, I thought I was eating healthy,
Yeah.
but I was eating a lot of the healthy things and always probably in a calorie surplus. And
Hmm.
so, in order to see the results in the physique that I was essentially trying to build,
Hmm.
kind of was hiding under that layer of fat. Let's just be honest, right? So once I joined Health NU, I was able to get on a really good nutrition program with you, Shaun. Making sure that I was being held accountable for, the macros that I was, within that certain time frame for. And it definitely put a new perspective on healthy eating or just amount and quality of food that I was eating. So,
Absolutely. Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely always the nutrition piece is probably like the hardest for people to grasp around. And what you said, I think so many people say, so many women that we talk to says like, I eat healthy. And I think like you don't have to be eating like terribly to not be having the physique you want. It's just like the food choices need to be good, yes, but also like the right amounts and then also, how often people eat out will dictate that. So you
Right.
definitely tightened that up and seen a big change. What would you say, like, if you could walk us through the physical transformation that you had, if you could describe like what you've seen in yourself and how you've transformed?
For sure. Number one is my skin. I kind of always suffered from, what I thought was and had doctors' opinions on rosacea and constant like angry skin, flaring like red, sort of inflamed. And I've noticed that since I've joined HealthNU and been eating whole foods and no processed foods and reduced alcohol intakes immensely. That's a big one too, is my skin has calmed down and it's not as red. Another thing I noticed is my gut isn't always inflamed or is never inflamed. I sort of had that. I thought I was lean. Looking back on photos, though, I was not. I kind of always had that perpetual, sort of tire tube around my midsection. And, for women, they, I suppose to a certain extent that's okay, right? You're protecting your organs and whatnot. But I sort of had that muffin top and I could never really get rid of that. And I was always extended. And so I've really noticed that my stomach is a lot flatter and my gut, or like my gastrointestinal system, is a lot more regulated and overall just healthy. I'm rarely ever bloated or gassy. And so I've noticed that my movements are a little bit, obviously it was super regular, but I think that was sort of the, when we had a discussion, I think maybe 4 months into my journey last year, you messaged me and you're like, holy shit, Amber, like what happened to your midsection? It's completely gone. And so I think just introducing, the whole foods, less alcohol, no alcohol, and just my gut sort of inflamed for sure. But one thing I also noticed is I've gained a ton of muscle. Like it's unbelievable, or maybe I've gained a ton of muscle, and by going through the whole process of I went through a cut, went through a bulk, and now I'm going through a cut again. I've really noticed that, I do have a lot more muscle than A, that I initially started with, and B, since last summer, I've noticed that I've gained a ton more muscle as well. So, and it's more obvious because I'm cutting and, it's showing. So, yeah.
I know. I'm really pumped because you really did what I think is one of the hardest things for women to do, is to really commit a long time to a bulk, because, women are always trying to like lose weight or weigh less. And the thought of gaining muscle or gaining weight intentionally can be terrifying, especially when you just work so hard to get lean the first time we did it.
Yeah.
So as a coach, I always really appreciate, you putting your trust in me of like, okay, I'm willing to like kind of go through that uncomfortable period of like gaining weight, feeling a little bit fat, in order to have, the physique that you kind of dream of. And now we're about halfway through your cut and I'm super excited. Like you sent some training footage, I think it was yesterday, the day before. I'm like, holy shit, like you're looking so good. Like you built so much muscle. So I'm super pumped and I can't wait to see your end result. And I'm really excited for that.
For sure.
Before you started, what would you say is like one or two things that like you really struggled with on your own in terms of like getting the results? Like what struggles were you facing before you joined?
I think just nutrition for sure. Just not really knowing sort of what to eat, when to eat it, how much to eat. I mean, everyone talks about lots of protein or good fats, lots of fiber, but like in what quantity and what sort of foods, are we speaking to? And I think that's something I really didn't know how to do before I met you. What I thought I was eating healthy, it's probably, half or full avocado in one sitting, right? It's like, I mean, that's good fats, but I mean, it's definitely a lot too much, right? So
it's a lot of calories for sure.
It's a lot of calories for sure, right? So definitely knowing, I suppose, what to eat and when to eat it. I mean, I think a lot of women think, let's skip breakfast, have a light salad for lunch, maybe with a bit of chicken, and then have, a good dinner. But like, it's actually surprising after joining HealthNU and under your guidance, I mean, how much I'm actually eating, and the different types of food. So it's always so funny, you joke about you got to eat your protein, but it is so true. And, you don't really feel satiated if you don't eat that, good amount of protein with every meal. And I'm, eating definitely 3 times a day, 4, if not 5 times a day. So it's also like the quantity of food too, but of the right things. So,
Absolutely. Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's good food too, like it feels good to fuel your body and like eat enough. I think many people kind of like drag through life wondering like why they have low energy and why they have cravings all the time. And like it's, most people are under eating and then they'll overeat on the stuff because they've kind of gone through those periods of under eating. So it's like these like fluctuating yo-yo dieting. And I think that if you
Yeah.
can, eat a stable amount consistently each day, like your body will really appreciate that. And like you'll look better, you'll feel better, and just have a higher probability of sticking with it. So thank you.
And I
That's
think
cool.
one problem I had was always snacking in the evenings.
Yeah.
Or, packing kids' lunches, you just have a handful of goldfish or sneak a granola bar, but it really is just air. Like it doesn't even fill you up, right?
It
So
adds
like
up
even just
too.
having like chips in the evening, kids gone to bed, just, you're relaxing, have a bag, bowl of chips or something like that, which, looking back on it, I mean, that's probably the worst food you could probably be eating, right? So I've
Totally.
completely cut all that out. And I think I wasn't really a big like sugar person. I think it was like more chips and like savory
Salty.
foods that I was kind of craving. But if I have a little bit of sugar, my body like always is looking for that. But I think like if you look for the good foods like peanut butter, almond butter, like that is your treat. And I feel like you're not missing out when you're not having like the handful of M&Ms or, you know,
100%.
Reese peanut butter cups or chocolate almonds, right? So
Yeah. Then what,
yeah,
my secret.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. And what would you say life's been like for you since going through the program? Like what benefits have you noticed?
Oh my God, it's been life changing. I think, initially it was a bit of a, an investment for sure. But at the time, it was just a bit of like, oh God, what am I doing? Like it's a big, decision every month or, a big investment, but 100% like best decision I've ever made. And my clothes are fitting better, like buying new clothes because the ones that I was wearing before are way too big. Feeling more confident in my body and myself when I look in the mirror. It even just translates to the activities that I'm doing. I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm, competing at a higher level than I was before, strength training. And overall just like a general confidence that I've gained from this whole program for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. And what would you say is your favorite part of us working together so far?
I would say your brutal honesty to be to be truthful. I mean, you really have our best interest at heart, and you see someone that you see myself, I suppose, who really, like at the beginning of this cut, for example, I was a little bit dragging my heels and really standing in my own way, and I kind of thought, I cut once before, it'll be easy to cut this time, but honestly, I just needed you to like kick me into high gear and just be honest with me and, just really point me into the right direction. And I think that's been, the most meaningful part of this whole journey. Not only that, but you have the support of Kylie and Jen on your side. They've, you submit your form checks and discussions within the group that we have on WhatsApp. And they're always so supportive and willing to give feedback. And it's not as if they're criticizing, but they definitely want you to become better. They want you to become stronger and making sure that your form and everything is correct and, pushing you to somewhere that you might not thought that you could push yourself before. So,
Absolutely. And I always appreciate
yeah.
your receptiveness to feedback, like I feel like you always are like, okay, cool, I'll do that,
Yeah.
and like maybe you have
Yeah.
some follow-up questions, but you always just kick it into gear and make it happen. So I appreciate that about you as
Yeah.
well.
Thanks.
In terms of your goals and your progression, would you say like the next 6 to 12 months look like for you, and like what are you trying to accomplish within the next 6 to 12 months?
Oh, geez. Yeah. I would definitely say, in the next couple of months, I'm looking to kind of complete my cut and just be a little bit more lean for the summer. And I'd like to try and maybe maintain that for a little bit. And I'm undecided if I want to go through another bulk this winter, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I haven't completely written that off, but I definitely I think still like trying to maintain my strength and definitely increase my strength in the gym. And I do see that sort of like on a weekly, not weekly basis, but I mean with some exercises, but Definitely like long term, you know, yeah, definitely increase my strength. And I don't think it's like a 6 to 12 month sort of goal. I think this is just like a lifelong commitment, and this is just
Yeah.
my new norm, right? So I mean, whether or not like a bulk or a cut are in my like immediate future, but I just think
It's
this
just
is
your
just my
life
life
now.
now. Yeah,
Love
yeah,
it. Okay, cool.
yeah.
And how has getting fit, getting healthy, how would you say it's impacted your life outside of fitness?
Oh, geez, like I feel like I am more aware of unhealthy habits in other people too, and not being judgy on
Hmm.
people I don't know, but maybe my immediate family or my extended family, and I feel like they're noticing the changes that I've had, and a lot of people are looking to make changes themselves, and I think that's like
That's
the
cool.
best sort of compliment to like myself, and then obviously to Health and you and your community there, right? I mean, I wouldn't be here without your guidance and
Now you get
Kylie and
to like
Jen's
pay it
guidance.
forward, like
Yeah, paying it
it's
forward
just
for sure.
you're inspiring
You
other
know,
people.
yeah, for sure. Some friends and family have joined, and my kids now eat like eggs and toast for breakfast versus like cereal or something sugary, which we didn't
Hmm.
really have a ton of before. But they're making those choices on their own. And initially, on my cut back in 2024, I was making sort of similar meals for dinner for them, but mine were a little bit altered. But now we're all eating the same thing,
I love
so
that.
seeing sort of changes in our eating habits, and my husband's going to the gym more often, and
Nice.
you provided a guide for men at one point, I think last
Hmm.
year,
Yeah.
and he's like running with that, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So
Cool. I
just
love
sort
that.
of seeing like the changes that like externally that I'm influencing, my loved ones to have on their lives too. So
Absolutely. The Dixon
yeah,
family's getting jacked,
yeah,
getting in great shape.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So for anyone who's like potentially struggling right now watching this, what would you say is like one piece of advice for them? And what's one thing that you would say to them to like get their journey started?
For sure. I mean, it's great to see all these, fit people, but I think, if you're struggling, you just have to just take it day by day. I think that is, the most important thing is just take it day by day, meal by meal, and just being consistent on like a regular basis. Like, don't look at like months from now, like, oh, I wish I'm going to lose like 30 pounds by, September. I mean, that's a great goal to have, but I think just showing up when you don't want to show up at the gym, eating the things that you know are good for you and not sort of eating off plan, and just being consistent with that, and just showing up, right? I mean, that's the most important thing is just putting in the work. And then even if, you're not feeling the gym that day, I mean, even going and putting in like, 75-80% effort, I think your endorphins gradually increase as your workout goes on, and you're just going to be this in there, like
Yeah, if
giving
you have
it,
to like
full effort.
for sure, if you have to I've tricked myself so many times at the gym saying something like, "Okay, I'll go have a light one today. I don't feel like
Yeah.
going." And then 2 or 3 sets into it, you're like, "Okay, I'm here. I
Yeah.
might as well go hard."
And you just feel
So
so good, right?
and I love what you said too. It's like if you're focused on the end goal, it can seem so out of sight that you feel intimidated by the goal and then you just don't start. Whereas if, like you said, like you
Right.
focus on the first meal, the first workout, the next step forward, and just
Yeah.
before you know it, you're at the top of the mountain and you're like, oh shit, like how did I get here?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's super important with HealthNU and your app that you have is you can track like not only your weight, which we do and
Hmm.
weekly on a weekly basis, but you can track your measurements too. And I think that, and your photos too, with like the weekly check-in photos, it might not be so apparent, week 1 to week 4, the measurements might be a little bit different, but you're maybe not seeing it in photos, or maybe week 4 to week 8, you're starting to feel a little bit better, like your pants are a little bit looser, or like,
Hmm.
geez, yeah, like I've lost like a couple inches, but it might not be so apparent like in the moment. But when you look back on those photos or on those like the weigh-ins or the measurements, like it's it all adds up. So just taking it day by day, I think, and then having and celebrating a good week. And if for whatever reason you don't have a good week, move on from it. Don't dwell. Just carry on into the next, and just try and make that next week even better. Right?
100%. Totally agree.
Yeah.
So if if someone is watching this and someone's been thinking about joining on the program, but they've been on the fence, what would you say to them to get them to take action?
Don't hesitate. I mean, you've been stuck spinning your wheels. I know I was stuck spinning my wheels for years, trying to achieve this sort of ideal physique that I had in my mind, and spinning my wheels, not really knowing where to go, getting really frustrated, putting in the work but not seeing any results. I think you just really got to bite the bullet and just take the next step. You will not regret it. You absolutely will not regret it. Yeah, for
Amazing.
sure. And I think too, like I mentioned before, like it is a bit of a financial commitment, but if you look at, for example, my gym charges double your rate for training, like personal training. So, I mean, for what I'm getting with you, I think it's a hell of a steal. So,
Thank you.
you have like, daily check-ins if you need it, like form check on the daily, for many numerous exercise, like every exercise, or, multiple times for that exercise, for that matter. And so I just think it's something that you just need to invest in yourself, right? And sometimes, I can speak to being a mother, like sometimes you're always putting your husband first or your kids first, and you're sort of just, spinning your wheels, going through the daily, but you're putting yourself on the back burner and not, really truly taking care of yourself. But I think at the end of the day, like this is what I'm here for, is to make sure that I'm around to take care of my family and be the best possible version of myself that I can be, and looking pretty jacked at the same time, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate you coming on. Just like talking, it really helps me, and I'm just honored to have you on here. And I'm glad to hear all these things that you've enjoyed your experience with us, and obviously seen such great results both inside and out. So I'm really proud of the work that we've done together. So again, thank you, and thanks for taking the time to hop on here. I really appreciate it.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah. Well, have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Sean.
Okay. Bye.